could have your attention, please? Welcome everyone to the zoning board of September 24. My name is Marty Akins. I'm the chairman. This board members, Mr. Himmel, Mr. Frankel, Mr. Chin, Mr. O'Brien, our clerk, Mrs. Griffin, and the director of inspectional services behind me, Rob Conlon. If you have a cell phone, please put it on vibrate or shut it off. Please don't interrupt the meeting by talking. If you want to talk, please step outside. It's hard to hear here as it is. I just want to see if Agawam Street's here, Agawam Road, you are here? The applicant, you want to move it to the 8th. Can I have a motion to move that to the 8th?
ZBA-24-4, Daniel Reggiani, variance, small patio will accommodate 10 by 16 foot shed on the premise numbered 19 Agawam Road, Quincy, Mass. Make a motion to move to 10-8-24.
Second?
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
So does that mean that this particular?
This is gonna be his last time, 10-8. If he don't show up 10-8, I ain't gonna, or writes a letter, it's
So
over.
we're done then, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, for tonight, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, I know. I just wanna see if, 547 Quincy Shore Drive there? I don't think, huh?
Yes.
Oh, you, I didn't see you back there, sorry. Yeah. Oh, where's Bonnie?
She's a block away.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah. If anyone's gonna speak tonight, could you please stand up and raise your right hand? Mr. Chin, if you could please give an oath, please. If you plan on speaking tonight, you don't take an oath, you will not speak here. So if you don't stand up and take an oath, you will not speak. So that's it, okay. Mr. Chin?
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matters now in hearing? Yes, thank you.
Oh, the house in the corner, all right. All right, and could you read that ZBA case number, that way there it's on the record?
Zoning Board of Appeals from Eric Gillis, RE ZBA-24-33-205 President's Lane. The petitioner respectfully requests to have the zoning board case continued to November 26, 2024, as his work traveling conflicts.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. November 20.
This is the engineer. That's fine.
I have a 6-month extension. Looks like the cost of lumber starting to go down.
You want to read the top?
Just the extension, the 6-month extension.
September 24th, our ZBA-2184, nature petitioner is Mohammed Zubadai. The case seeks a variance finding special permits to reconstruct 2 additions to existing dwelling, one to the rear, one to the side, top driveway in violation of City of Quincy zoning, chapter 375, section 3.43, non-conforming structures finding 4.11 table dimensions requirement, and 819 special permit, FPOD on the premises numbered 479 Quincy Shore Drive. Make a motion to extend for 6 months.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
That was fun. Right.
Clerk of court.
Quincy Shore Drive just came through the door.
Oh, all right. On the old business, ZBA 24/7, JCBT Architect for a variance special permit. PUD to demolish the existing structure and construct a three-story flood compliant structure with an open garage in the premises 547 Quincy Shore Drive. Applicant and representative here. Bonnie, you're up. Yeah, if you could, please, Russell. Swear in, she just walked in.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the matter, nothing but the truth and the matter now in hearing. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. My name is Bonnie Tan with JCBT Architects. After last meeting, we have went back and shrink the size a bit. Now it's down to a little less than 3,700 square feet gross living area. We removed the office on the first floor, shrink the master bedroom, and shrinking the rear bedroom a little bit. Excuse me. The master bedroom, we actually shrinked it and added a deck looking over the ocean. And on the second floor, we just shrunk the size. We didn't do much, but moving a sort of like an office area inside the master suite, so she can have her open desk area, computer area inside. And that's the change.
And you have the bedroom downstairs.
Yeah, we don't know what this,
Oh,
we didn't know what to do with that corner.
make a big master suite there instead of a 13 by 14 master, right? I guess.
We removed that office, but
No, I know.
yeah, they
That
wanted
bothered me.
some storage or mechanical area.
You know, these people that want that thing ripped down, there's animals in there, they gotta go.
Yeah.
We've been here 4 times. I know you shrunk it twice, but you kinda shrunk it a couple hundred at a time, but
This-
I can live with the way it was, so, I'll be voting in favor, but any comments or questions for,
No, I'll be voting in favor.
No questions.
No questions.
have a motion, please? To discuss the
CBA
site plan.
24-7, 547 Quincy Shore Drive, revised plan design, to make a motion to accept as presented,
And get a building permit to rip that down.
and get a building permit to remove the existing,
Actually, right away.
Promptly.
Promptly, yeah. Seconded?
existing zoo.
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, good night.
Excuse me, I have a comment to make on that.
Want to make a comment, come on up. Russell.
My name's Richard Allen. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts. I represent Pat Fonduto, who is the immediate abutter at 126 Colby Road. We are in favor of you folks moving this as fast as possible to get that building demolished. My only request, and I think it's more of an administrative detail, is there is a difference between now the old approved
It's
conservation
small,
plan plan.
it's smaller than the other plan, that's what we asked her to do. I
No.
hear $1 testimony and I asked what everyone wanted, that's what you want, a smaller building.
No, I'm not talking about the building. I'm talking
Oh, I'm
about
just telling you,
I'm
the
talking about
footprint.
the landscape plan on the approved plans that were submitted to you.
That thing will be landscaped, believe me. That place will be nice, it won't even get a permit to occupy. Is there anything else, sir?
Yes,
What?
the plans that have been approved do not include some of the civil engineering drawing plans, which include curbing to prevent drainage.
Yeah.
It includes a dry well that's not on it. It also fails to include.
That's all included. It's all included in those plans.
Not on the
The
ones you
plans
just
that, the plans have been submitted to them, please. Anything else, any other comment?
No further comment.
Thank you. You have a comment,
I
ma'am?
don't have a long speech this week. I just want to point out the mockery of making it smaller.
Go ahead.
My name is Berkeley Wilson, 41 Milton Road. That green highlight is what was made smaller.
All right,
That's all. Thank you.
thank you. Going on to tonight's business. TBA 2442, Thomas Williams for variance to construct a 2-story addition, increase the property from a 3-bedroom to 4-bedroom, increase the parking requirements on the premises, SIP, Wampatuck Street in Quincy. The applicant and representative here.
Yeah, Thomas Williams and my wife Angelica Rivera.
Yeah.
We initially submitted an application on the 9th of July. It was recommended at the time by the board that we go back and reconsider design and potentially look at raising a second floor at the front of the property rather than building out a side addition to the property. We had two structural engineers come out to assess the basement and the foundation. Two structural engineers were both of the opinion that the foundation was inadequate to support a second floor addition to the property. So we're asking the board if they would please consider reconsidering the initial designs for the two-story side addition to the property.
We also wanted to mention that currently 2 out of the 3 bedrooms that we have don't even have closets. They are very small, they only fit a single bed. And our proposal, like we are gonna build the new closets and we are gonna add a full bathroom. So right now, our bedrooms are really, really small. And we have pictures if you wanna see those pictures.
No, I've been down your house, I've seen it, and I understand the structure isn't right. I thought you were gonna go out and get a price to see what it costs to fix that.
Yeah,
Maybe get that done.
I think
so
we
you can
did- we
put an
did-
addition on your
sorry.
property to make it look like the other houses that are there.
Yeah, we did submit an attachment to the application with an estimate cost for the second floor addition. So I'm not sure if you received that.
Because they need to build a new foundation, it will add us 120,000, and we also will need to relocate because they will remove the whole first floor. They need to do underpinning, they will remove the hardwood floors in the first floor, they
And
need to
the
rebuild
reframe as well.
everything. We
Me,
have-
I wouldn't. I didn't like the design, I didn't like your additions. But there is people here that will speak on this tonight. And any other questions? Do you have any questions?
Is the-
Mr. Hamel?
Yeah, what's up with the galley kitchen on the second floor?
Oh yeah, when we bought the property, that was I think that was used. Was it
It's an in-law.
an in-law? Yeah, I'm not sure if it was used for a parent initially.
What do you do with it now?
We just use it as a bedroom now.
It's not functional, really.
All right, thank you.
I have no questions. No questions, yeah.
You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Is there anyone that would like to speak in favor of this petition? First call, second call, third call, call up closed. I had a letter here from the DPW. We received a submittal for the above referenced project and have no comments. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call, call apart closed. I'm not voting in favor. I mean, that's the house they bought.
I think
I mean,
it's
if
enough
you
to get
wanna
a
do it.
3,200 square foot lot, I think it's.
It
sufficient
is,
what's
it's
there.
so small, and you
Yeah.
wanna go up on the side and the side, and it's just, it won't look good, and I don't think it's good for the neighborhood myself. I mean, it stinks, it's your property, you wanna do it, I get it, but, you know, there's other people that live down there too that don't wanna look at the whole lot taken up, so I'll be voting no.
I'll be voting no as well.
Same. Likewise.
I agree.
Have a motion, please?
ZBA 24-42, Thomas Williams, a variance to construct a two-story addition, increasing the property from 3 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms, increasing the parking requirements on the premise numbered number 6 Wambeck Street, Quincy. Make a motion to deny as presented.
Second.
And let me hold it right there. We'll usually give you a chance to withdraw without prejudice, so you can come back with another plan, and it don't have to be completely different, but it's gotta be different than what you have. Or do you want us to vote on it? It's up to you.
We can withdraw that.
Okay, can I have a motion to withdraw without prejudice?
ZBA 24-42, Thomas Williams, 6 Wambeck Street, Quincy, Mass. Petitioner withdraws without prejudice.
Second.
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Sorry, further into tonight's business. New business, ZBA 2461, Tremont Quincy 1 LLC for variance special permit to raise all existing structures on both 61 and 71 Hancock Street and construct a new 8-story multifamily residential with 139 units improved with 134 parking spaces on premise 61 and 71 Hancock Street. Applicant and representative here.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Give us a minute to set up here, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Huh? Yeah, I know, well, we approved that, right. Yeah. Yeah. How are you today? You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the board. I'm David Mahoney. I represent Tremont Quincy 1 LLC. We're before the board tonight for a multifamily project at 61 to 71 Hancock Street. We're requesting a special permit and several variances. The project's located in the north end of the city as you're coming over the Neponset River Bridge. If you look to the right, you see Domino's there. That's the site. The project consists of 139 units. I'll leave the details to the architectural team who'll make a presentation. To refresh the board's memory, we were here back in May of 2021, and this board approved several variances in the special permit on a much larger project. It was 16 stories, probably 100 more units. It was subject to many conditions. It didn't get built. We were coming out of COVID, interest rates at an all-time high, commodity prices, lumber. That obviously didn't get built. This is the successor project. I think you'll find it a worthy successor for that end of the city, that gateway to the city. I'd like to introduce Phil Casey from CBT Architects, who will make the architectural presentation.
Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everybody. Phil Casey with CBT Architects in Boston. Thank you for having us tonight. We'll just start out with an aerial view of the site. I know everybody's familiar with it here, but just to talk a little bit about some of the attributes that influence the design of the site. First off, the idea that the site's this gateway, the threshold of coming into Quincy from the north on Hancock Street. How do we use that as an opportunity to really revitalize the site and think about the site as this kind of marker when you come in town? Second, and quite important within the Neponset River, that adjacency really to an amazing natural resource. The idea of bringing residential use there and the opportunity for folks to interact with that on a daily basis, we're quite excited about. And then third is really, you can see here, almost a 360-degree view corridor from this site that it has. How do we harvest those views for a residential project and a multifamily project to really draw people to this site? The site itself, I think all of you are familiar here, an underutilized site on the corner of Hancock Street and Newbury Street, fronting on Hancock Street with Quincy Shore Drive rising up from it. Again, you can see this sort of gateway opportunity and then Neponset Landing across the street there. And so when we get into the architectural design, a little bit about our influences. This is a plan. Again, you can see Hancock Street to the north. That dial up to the right is the idea of studying the view corridors, really looking at those opportunities for those distant views and the idea of really the bar and the plan here in yellow, holding that corner on Hancock and Newbury, that gateway opportunity, that marker of new development and revitalization, and then having the building step back as it goes along Hancock Street, creating these adjacent views both to Boston and then back to the Neponset River as we turn the wing of that building. What it also does for us is the building sitting on top of a 2-story parking podium allows us to have an amenity deck that's south-facing, really getting a lot of natural light and a lot of value from a perspective, from a tenant perspective. And then a little bit about the inspiration. Obviously that adjacent to the Neponset River Trail, the idea of bringing those influences into the design from both a material standpoint and a massing standpoint. We look at the weathered boardwalks, that sort of gray color, the natural reeds, the idea of some of the desaturated foliage, and even sort of the manufacturing history along the Neponset River. Some of those masonry tones bringing that in a contemporary way and reinterpreting that into the building. So here's a view from Hancock Street. This is really that gateway view I was mentioning. Looking down Hancock Street, really the exciting opportunity is a two-story lobby, very transparent, a lot of eyes on the street. The idea of then amassing with a composition of a number of forms. You can see essentially a rustic masonry coloring there with a series of kind of weathered coloring components to it. The entire building is sitting on a two-story parking podium. You can see beyond the, down Hancock Street, beyond the lobby, you start to see the idea of the screening elements along that. And then really the improved public way, the sidewalk, those generous street trees as we think about Hancock and really starting to infill this block of it. As we look down Newbury Street, you can see just to the right of the lobby, we have the parking entry as well as the loading dock entry. Loading dock will accommodate a full truck off-site parking for that. And just a quick summary, 85 feet tall, 8 stories, I think you guys are familiar. 139 units, FAR of 5, and approximately 134 parking spaces enclosed. Here's a view from Hancock Street. Again, that two-story, very transparent lobby on the corner of Hancock and Newbury. You start to see that two-story parking podium with those sort of green trellises screening, and then the sort of mature street trees that we're imagining bringing along, really improving that pedestrian public realm along Hancock, as well as when you turn the corner. You start to see the all-glass corners of the unit, harvesting those views back to Boston, some of those views out to the Ponset River, and some of those other distant views. And again, this composition of forms, taking that palette from the existing Neponset River Valley corridor and some of those masonry tones and those weathered gray tones as well. And then this is a view looking back towards Hancock Street, towards the north, and you really start to see the building faceting, this idea of the building stepping back for those view corridors, and then really allowing the two-story parking podium to create terraces for those first floor units, and then really revitalizing that entire streetscape, the idea of both pedestrians from the sidewalk, from again those street trees, some greenery, and really eyes on the street, the idea of a 24/7 residential community that's really starting to bring some activation to this site. And then a little bit on the planning side, this is the ground floor here, Hancock Street to the north, Newbury Street. Again, that two-story lobby in yellow on the corner, bringing that kind of activation and that identity and presence to the building. Just to the left of that, down Newbury Street, again, a fully enclosed loading dock for essentially a 40-foot truck bay. And then just beyond that, the entry to the parking space. The rest of the footprint is dedicated to parking on that first floor. You can see right now how the building fits within the footprint, or the, say, the property line footprint. We're really zero setback, and that's about the minimum that we're at to make a feasible parking structure for both circulation bays as well as parking. You can see there's a dog park proposed at the back as well. If we go up 2 floors, there's 2 floors of parking. This is the 3rd floor, first residential floor, sitting on top of that parking podium. You start to see what we call really a double loaded corridor, right? Units on either side. It's a mix of units on 139. About half of them are 1 beds, a quarter of them are studios, and another quarter are 2 beds. You can see most of the 2 beds tend to be on the corners with those corner views, and then an amenity space facing the south of the amenity deck. And then a typical residential floor as you go up with the core in the center, again with that faceted building massing to take advantage of those few corridors. And then I'll hand it over to Sean Toby for our civil to go through the site plan. Thank you.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. Sean Toby from Hoyle Tanner Associates, the civil engineer for the project. So I'll just touch quickly on some of the civil aspects. Phil kind of covered a lot of them with the project himself, but this is a kind of unique parcel that's been underdeveloped over the years. There's those 2 commercial buildings that have been there for some time, as well as a single-family residential building that's been torn down. But everything around this has been kind of developed up over time, and there's been 2 series of right-of-way takings along the frontage of the parcel over the years. So that's really crept into the site, where these 2 buildings there that exist now are almost 8-9 feet into the existing right-of-way and have really prevented from enhancing this corridor. So with Phil's team at CBT, the developer, and then working with the city, we've really created this nice plan as outlined to allow us to have that opportunity to enhance Hancock Street there with the nice wide sidewalks. And those would actually begin closer down to the left there on Densmore, continue all the way along the frontage of the property and tie into the Newport Ave extension. And also mentioned with the parking going underneath the building and the loading, that's really freed up a lot of space along Newbury Street, where the parking itself is actually almost 8 or 9 feet into the right-of-way there as well. That'll allow us a nice new sidewalk corridor to tie into any of the development that's been happening down on Newbury Street. And then from the site civil side, this is just a site plan here that we have. But as we go through this process, obviously, we'll be going through the full planning board site plan review process. So there'll be enhanced drainage for this parcel. Right now, there's no drainage. Stormwater just flows off in all directions. There'll be utility improvements. There'll be the street trees, the sidewalks, curbs. Everything will be enhanced and brought up to modern standards surrounding the project. And that's pretty much it, kind of at this point from the civil. I can turn it back over to Dave, and then if there's any specific civil-related questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you.
That concludes the presentation, Mr. Chairman. We have Sam Slater and Jacob Stark from Tremont, the developers, if there are any questions for them as well, and the team is here to take questions also.
No, I like it better than the last one, that's for sure. I think it's even a better design. I really don't have any questions. I know the other stuff is all gonna be dealt with at planning.
Yes.
It's time to clean up the entrance coming into Boston. I mean, the Quincy from Boston, so I don't have any questions. Any questions?
Yes, what's the theory behind the 134 parking spaces versus the 209 required?
What's the theory?
Yeah, but why does that work?
Well, I think to have that many spaces, I think before we had a shuttle service that they were utilizing. It's difficult and expensive to build parking. So that's the rationale behind having that. It's a much improved ratio from the first project. I think that was a 0.6. This is up almost close to 1 per unit.
Now, will these be considered luxury apartments?
I guess it depends who's
Are they
looking
gonna
at
be condos or apartments?
it. These are apartments.
Okay, so will
Yes.
these be considered luxury apartments?
Would you guys?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering, if people spend money for a luxury apartment, they usually have a car.
Yeah. No, I know. It's a half mile to the train station. There's Uber, there's the shuttle that gets you to the train station. They're not as in demand as I think, if it was a condo.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Frankel, any questions?
Is there any traffic study done as far as this disaster next to Cathay Pacific in the morning? What the effect is gonna be?
Yes, we'll be dealing with that at the planning board, but there was a full traffic study done for the first project, and this is a much less intense use, 100 fewer units, but we'll have a full traffic study to present to the planning board for site plan review.
It was similar to my question. I was concerned about the traffic coming down the bridge at some speed, and then trying to stop there and get into your development. That'll be covered by the traffic study.
Yes, it will be. Yep.
I'm worried about the other direction. Entrance and access is Newbury, all through that. That's
Yes.
where, in and out, right? And
Yes.
When we, as part of the study, the last time we approved this project, I had asked that they look at the weave, which takes them out of Newbury and then takes the left to get back on the bridge. So I'd like to make sure that that's included when you go to planning,
Yes,
okay?
yes. No, I remember that from the last time.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if it was ever addressed.
Yes, it was.
And the intersection, is that a state intersection?
I don't believe so.
Even though the ramp comes off the bridge?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Traffic light.
I don't know. You're right. It might be. Might be, because it comes right off. You're right.
And again, I don't know, I just want to ask.
Yeah, that'll be addressed in the traffic
That's,
study.
state police does the road too,
On the other side, yeah.
up above.
Yeah, above in the ramp.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
And then ramp.
I don't know where this,
I don't know
the
who
city
would do
stuff
that.
begins. I know all the stuff underneath the bridge is probably state control too, so
I think you're right, yeah.
they may have to be involved.
Yeah,
in some of that.
well, that'll be presented to the
Yeah,
planning
just
board in a couple of months.
Just a reminder.
Yes, yep,
But again, another look at that weave, please,
sure,
from that,
yes.
taking the right coming out of there and then taking the left to get back up on the bridge.
Oh,
going
yeah.
northbound.
You gotta be quick, yeah.
That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawyer. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Mahoney, thank you. Does anyone want to speak in favor? First call. Please step forward, name and address for the record, please. Is there anyone else who wants to speak in favor? Please come up. If you don't, that's fine.
Good evening, everybody.
Wait a minute, there's a microphone, we gotta wait. Go ahead. There
I
you
need a
go.
step stool.
That's, no, you don't. We got it.
Good evening, everybody. I'm a resident of Quincy. I live on Hancock Street.
What's your name?
Pat Lashinskas.
Address?
Laskinskasas. L-E-S,
What's your address?
45 Hancock Street,
Okay, thank you.
Dinsmore.
Gotcha.
My question is, he did mention that there was a traffic study done, but you also mentioned Newbury Street entrance and exit. I don't quite understand that because when you come down the bridge, I have to go around and under to get to my home. So how are you making that an entrance and an exit at Newbury
The
Street?
the street itself, you go down to get into the apartment, you come out
So
to
you
get
have
out of
to-
the apartment.
Go beyond where,
Yes,
where the pizza place is, you take that?
yes,
And you
Newcomb,
go in that way and you come out
Newbury
that way?
Yes.
yes, and you come out of the park and you take a right and a right.
Okay. And who did the traffic study?
Was it Vanessa?
There'll be another
Yeah.
one done for the planning board because it's 100 units less, roughly,
And how long is this anticipated?
couple months.
And then what about the building itself, to do the construction and all that?
Depends, good construction backers.
No, that's true.
Only kidding, only kidding.
Any idea how long?
How
Yeah,
long construction will be?
Yes.
Assuming we get approved, couple of years? 18 months? 18 months? 18 months.
Okay. Will there be traffic lights there?
where?
Oh, right at Newbury?
Yes. Because you have Newport Ave and you have Hancock Street going into one another.
No,
Then you-
Newbury's on the side,
I
you know
mean,
where it is, right?
Newport Ave and Hancock, they kind
Yeah.
of merge to go over that bridge. If you
Yeah.
see the bridge in the daytime now from
Oh.
6:30 in the morning, it's a zoo.
That-
So I don't understand how they're
That bridge,
bringing more
that bridge was,
construction.
really, it was no good when they finished it.
I
It didn't
know.
handle the traffic, really
No.
didn't, no way it did.
I
That
mean,
was a long time ago.
I live right there. It takes me
Yeah,
20 minutes just to
Yeah.
get
right,
from the parking lot where I am. So imagine with all this more traffic.
well, I mean, if you look at buildings that are by, the new buildings that they're building by the subways, people don't buy cars, they
Well,
buy,
I'm
they
just,
really
I'm
don't.
concerned.
And a lot
I'm
of people
concerned where
work,
I
a lot
am.
of people work at home, a lot of people today work
Not
at home.
anymore. They did in 2020, but if
Well,
you
they're
look at it
still
today,
No, they just have them go in the office once a week now.
well,
One of my
Come-
friends go
during
in
the
once a
summer-
week, once every other week.
Monday through Thursday, the traffic was heavy over the bridge. Come Friday during the summer,
Oh, great.
quiet. Now
Yeah,
they're
well,
back in
that's-
service. Everything's
Everyone
back,
takes Friday off.
you know, so, okay.
Crazy traffic, there is, you're right.
So there won't be more traffic added to this wonderful
Nope.
area.
There'll be more meetings.
Okay, thank you,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Anyone else? Second call, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Karen Lynch. I live in North Quincy. I've been a resident there for over 43 years. Anyone who can say that traffic is not a problem in North Quincy has not driven in North Quincy the past 6 months. You're
20
laughing,
years, I'm laughing
I'm the
because
one
it's
that
been like
doesn't.
that for 15 years, not 6 months.
but you're trying to do errands in North Quincy. It is
Yeah.
almost impossible. For
Are you in
example,
favor? I'm asking people
I
if
have a
they're
lot
in
of
favor.
questions before I determine.
Then there's an undecided section, I will call you then.
Okay, then
Okay. Okay.
because you were asking to take a vote, so I thought it was just.
No,
in
what
favor.
I said is,
Okay.
people that are in favor, I want to speak right now.
Okay.
People with questions and undecided will speak later, people against. will
Later
speak later.
meaning this evening?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
oh, yeah, I ain't gonna let you go nowhere without listening to you. I love my life. Anyone else? Speak in favor? Call that part of the hearing closed. Is this the new one?
Yes, there are,
It's just all the same. Everything's been the same for the last one. All right. It is all going to the planning board. I got a letter here from the DPW. We are unable to provide comments at this time because the civil plans will be coming to the planning board. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? You're up, ma'am. I thought someone else, I thought there was two people that wanted to speak in favor, so that's why I. No, that's over. They had their chance.
Because we live here, that's why. Okay, so as I was saying, my name is Karen Lynch. I've been a resident in North Quincy
What's your
for
address?
over 43 years. Pardon?
What's your address?
72 Russell Street,
Thank you.
North Quincy. So, as I was saying, traffic. Russell Street. That was a nice residential street. Now you can barely get down there. These multifamily homes are being rented out as individual rooms. I hear people say that young people don't have cars. I would like to meet some of these young people. They may not be driving into work every single day, although if you try to go over the bridge, that's a hard one to digest because the traffic is unbelievable getting into Boston. But one example that I think speaks very well to the idea of the traffic issue. Last Friday, we were getting some rain, not torrential rains, rain. My husband and I had to do an errand. The traffic on Hancock Street from, I couldn't see as far back, but say the bridge by Sagamore was all backed up going into, by the North Quincy train station. So we went down to Dunkin' Donuts, Cathay Pacific. We were gonna go to 93 South. I said, we'll go under the bridge, go out Newport Ave, get on that way. Mistake. And this is what is very serious in Quincy. It's not becoming residential anymore. It took us 16 minutes from the time we left the Dunkin' Donuts to get to the intersection of Hancock and East Quantum Street, or West Quantum Street, whichever one that is at that point. Reason being, we took a left out of Dunkin' Donuts. We go underneath that bridge, flooded. Couldn't do it. So everybody is now detouring underneath the, I don't know what you call it, because nobody had any place to go, underneath the bridge. You couldn't go around it. Big problem for this area. Fine, we finally get out of there. We're by Densmore and Newbury Street. And I know exactly what the woman's saying. Get to the light. We're gonna take a right onto.
All right,
Newport Ave.
ma'am,
Closed.
really, there's people that are gonna speak tonight. I don't wanna take directions all around the city of Quincy. There's
No, but I
construction
wanna
there. Come on,
explain.
let me finish.
Okay,
If this has something to do with this project, get to the point, please.
well, it does,
Well, get
because
to the point,
this is the
because You
intersection.
can't just go on and on about taking a left at this street, and then go all the way down the highway. I'll be in the hospital. Please.
Sir, I'm a
No,
citizen and
no.
resident of Quincy.
Really,
I
let's
should
get
be able
serious.
to
What are the
speak.
complaints of the building? Speak. That's
That-
all I'm asking.
That building is right at this intersection.
Exactly. it
State
is.
Street was closed down. You couldn't get onto State Street.
What?
So we're gonna add 139 units. 130, only 134 cars, because I guess there'll be a couple of units they can't drive. This is brand new construction. This is the time Quincy can address some of the parking issues. I understand existing buildings, it's hard to add extra parking, but on a brand new building, we should be requiring at least 2 cars per unit. If it's a double, a 2-bedroom unit, perhaps in a 1-bedroom you can get away with 1, I don't know. But we need to add that. And you do have flooding in that whole area, right there. So as you got cars coming off the bridge from Boston, that's gonna be an even longer commute, just to get down to the North Quincy T station. The other question I had, and some of this may have been addressed, so I apologize if it was. but it sounded like, I'm assuming you're Mr. Slater, or the Slater Group, the apartments were gonna be considered luxury. Do you have any idea roughly what the rents would be? And if any of it's gonna be affordable housing?
The affordable housing ordinance applies, so there'll be either 10% on-site or a payment in lieu to the Affordable Housing Trust.
So 13 units,
Or
affordable, roughly.
most developers now, the Affordable Housing Trust would prefer a payment in lieu of units on site, but it is subject to what's called the IZO, the Affordable Housing.
Do we know what the rents are gonna be roughly? And I understand some will depend on when you actually get it constructed and the costs and things like that.
Well,
But we already have a huge unit buildings at North Quincy right now that they're not full. But a lot of people cannot afford these at $2,800, $3,200.
I mean, the North Quincy.
Right, the
Station,
Abbey, yeah.
It's pretty full.
It's, I go by it at night and there's a lot of, there are lights on and there are lights not on, but it's
I
very
don't think they've
expensive.
determined what this rent is gonna be yet, because you're 18 months out.
Right. But they must have some idea.
I would imagine so, yeah. But the market
But we
will
don't.
dictate that.
So that it's not going to be probably affordable for most of middle-class America. The other thing is the saturation of buildings in North Quincy. And that is something that needs to be addressed, should be addressed by the zoning board. This is an appeal process, and looking forward into what life is like in North Quincy is very different from in Wollaston and in Quincy Center when it comes to traffic. And I would like that to be considered by the zoning board as you move forward. This is your opportunity to make adequate parking, because the other thing they're not considering is people do have visitors. And from that area, a few times I've actually gone down there, I've gone down this couple of different times, I'm not sure where that extra parking is gonna be. Right now in the residential streets, it's all over the streets. I'm not sure where that residential parking is gonna be. I know you're saying you don't know, but this is something you have to think about, because this is
We
the
do, we
reality
think
of
about it all the
parking.
time. We really do.
So I would ask that you consider that,
Will,
going forward. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else opposed or undecided? Please step forward, state your name and address, please.
Good evening, Dan Nato, resident of 45 Hancock Street, Quincy. I've been a Quincy resident for roughly 12 years now. So I just wanted to point out and make sure that there was consideration taken when a traffic study has been done, as well as in the future. Coming out of Densmore Street, this is where 45 Hancock Street's back parking lot is. We exit to go onto Hancock Street, we take a right. There is a stop sign right there. People blow through that stop sign every day, consistently.
All day.
So I just want to make people aware of that, because people exiting from Newbury Street, if that's where the exit's gonna be, disaster. An accident happening right there. Also, again, just want to reiterate the point of, the flooding that occurred. Not only did it affect Newport Ave here this past weekend, but also I've seen it impact right in front of Neponset Landing, Quincy Shore Drive there. You can't get.
That's underneath, you're saying, where you
That's
turn around.
underneath, yeah. So I myself can't get home from there. I can imagine that there's going to be so much traffic coming around that corner. People are going to be doing the same thing to attempt to get to Newbury Street.
I mean, is the flood that, when it rains, is it flood? It just floods all the time?
Honestly, it's throughout the summertime. Anytime there's high tide, comes up and it floods over. There were times I had to actually park myself over kind of at the Cathay Pacific. I know I shouldn't have parked there, but I was parking there to carry my groceries back because of the flooding that prevented people from accessing. So obviously, it's not only Neponset Landing that gets affected by that, but there will be a lot more traffic and people trying to figure out, what do we do in this situation? It's going to lead to a lot more traffic. People have to go over the bridge and then try to figure out what they're going to do from there. So just wanted to make a couple of points on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you spell your last name? Sure.
Should be, right? We'll find out. there anyone else? Undecided, opposed, step forward, name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Harold. I live at 60 Newbury Street.
16 what?
60 Newbury Street.
Oh, 60 Newbury, I'm sorry. Thank you.
And we're one of the only buildings that are on Newbury Street that are residential. And I commute into the city almost every day using Newbury Street. And there are several times where I try to exit Newbury Street and I can't even turn onto Hancock Street because there's so much traffic that's back up to the ramp in the morning. I also run into the same issue where I can't get home if there's flooding on that turnaround, which happened to me Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this past weekend.
Is that building condos or?
It's condos.
Condos, that's what I
Yes.
thought.
And I just wanted to make sure that there's gonna be adequate street for cars to go down on Newbury Street to turn, because as it is right now, if I turn onto the street, I almost hit the other car coming out. Because there's several, there's, the R&B is right there. So there's many, many vehicles going in and out of Newbury Street, more than you would think. So if there's another entrance that's going in another garage, the cars are gonna get backed up onto Newbury Street all the way to the 60 Newbury Street at the end. So I just wanted to make sure that that's taken into consideration when the building's being built.
And when they have these meetings at the board, you should show up at those too, the planning board.
Will do.
And speak.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that make the decisions on all that stuff, the roads and all that stuff, and what they can ask the contractor to do for them.
Yeah, but I do have to say, I'm very excited that there's another building that's nice going up in the area, because it's been long overdue. There's a lot of
You know, it's a
CBD.
gateway to Quincy coming from Boston. You want it to look nice. It's a beautiful building, and it's a lot smaller than what was there.
Originally, it was 240 units.
Yeah, it's very, yeah. But it was coming into the city, you needed something to come into the city, like you do down in Quincy Point now too. Clean that area up, coming back into the city from Weymouth.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that, getting cleaned up.
Thank you.
And that's it, thanks.
Is there anyone else opposed or undecided? No, call up out of here and close. There's a lot of things that the planning board's gonna have to look at here, of course. And I understand why they wanna do it this way. Make sure they get through zoning before they go to planning. And it's their choice. We try to make it happen the other way around, so we know what we're dealing with. I will be attending those meetings too and speaking for the people that want these things done, because someone should. They don't show up. But I will be voting in favor of the project. I think it's good. I think it's good for the city. I think when you drive in here, now flooding, those could be floodgates. I got that written down here. I'm gonna talk to DPW and Mr. Conlon. We're gonna talk after this. I told him we'll talk about it. The floodgates and what can be done down there. And he didn't even know. He said, you know, no one tells you that stuff happens. They just don't tell you. Of course, he's the new director this year. He had a lot on his plate, but I don't know. I think someone would have went down and told the DPW what's going on about your car, and having to walk across the street with groceries is kind of disgusting. In a nice building like that. But saying that, I will be voting in favor.
Well, despite my questions regarding the parking, I will be voting in favor. I think it's a lot better than what's there. I imagine the off-site water migration plans will be extensive through planning.
Yeah.
So I'm voting in favor.
As Chairman Akins mentioned, we don't like when it comes to zoning before planning, because we're taking a lot of things on faith that someone else is gonna be looking at and making a decision on. I think this is it's a great looking building. I'd love to see it coming into town, but I think it's a traffic disaster. This yellow line that goes to the left of Cathay Pacific, when you try to get in the morning, that'll be bright red, but The other problem is everybody's using Cathay Pacific as a whipty-doodle to go around and then take a left on Hancock, which just causes that middle section. Add another, whatever, 80 cars, 100 cars, 100 trips, whatever. It's just a bad situation. I haven't decided one way or the other, but I love the building. I think it looks great, but there's gonna a lot that's gonna have to be done to make that not be a real nightmare for people who are commuters and just getting in and out of the city. It's a lot more crowded than I know. There's a huge building there and 100 Hancock. There's a lot of congestion in there now that's just gonna be exacerbated by having this big a development right in that corner. Anyway, but I love the project. It's a lot better than what's there, I agree.
I mean, I like the project too. It's a very good-looking building. It's better than what's there now. It's better than what was previously approved. I share Jeff's thoughts about the traffic being a nightmare. Fortunately, some of those buildings right around there are commercial in nature, and so unfortunately, it's going to be very bad at 9 o'clock and 5 o'clock, but hopefully on weekends and some of the other times of the day it won't be as bad. I will have faith in Chairman Akins attending some of those meetings and speaking up on behalf of the people with traffic concerns. I do have traffic concerns, as I just said, and if they can work around those satisfactorily, then I'm in favor.
I think it's a better project than the one that had previously gone through. I have to admit to that. In the effect, the traffic has is not solely the responsibility of Quincy. The reason it's messed up is because the other side of the bridge, it doesn't move to the expressway and the ramps. I drove that way every day for 12 years. I took that ramp, and I got earlier and earlier in the morning when I was trying to get out of it. That was my issue initially when the 10-story building was approved, was I made sure that they had the word to put some action on that traffic study that could possibly address the issues in Quincy. It's a tough thing to solve. I don't think it can be solved until they go the other way. Now, to tell you how old I am, years ago there was a state police officer at the bottom of the ramp when you get off the bridge to put you on the expressway, and the traffic moves smoothly then.
When they were doing the bridge, there was that too. It was great.
Right.
But once they removed the police officer from there and they turned it over to the automated lights and the increases in the volume, that's strangled it. I'd like to see a residential property in there as opposed to a commercial or industrial, because you never know what you're gonna end up with. Because there was 2 contaminated sites in there from 30, 40 years ago that I think they're still cleaning up. The residential area is a benefit, the traffic is not a benefit. But hopefully there can be some resolve with some sort of a study, and maybe the state or the city can get together and reconfigure the intersection. I know they're doing some work in different areas throughout the city to relieve some of the hard-pressed areas. And hopefully they can take a big factor at this one. I just don't know what you're gonna do with the bridge there. It's like it's a choke point that there's no easy solution. In the meantime, I'll be voting in favor.
You know, they talk about, the Boston highway system is like 27 entrances to that expressway in like 3/4 of a mile, with so many different entrances.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And how could traffic flow? And it can't. You get over that bridge, it takes like 5 sets of lights to get over the bridge. When you're on the bridge, you're going, this is ridiculous. You get like 7 cars.
You go to most places too, they let the traffic off before they put more on. And
Yeah.
here it's passed backwards, they do it just the reverse. They put them on before they take them on.
Yeah.
And if you look at that,
Right.
you get all of this stuff when you're trying to.
Well, they have lights going on the highway. You know what I mean? Every 5 seconds, the light changes and the cars go.
Well, you're right, when they had the state policeman down at the bottom of the other side, they work like a charm.
Yep.
Yeah, it always did. I mean, I don't know what happened. Maybe that's not important enough for them to do anymore because they don't live there. But when they stopped doing that immediately, it shut everything down. I mean, it's crazy, it packed right up. I mean, even if he lets 10 cars from that right lane go through while they're coming
Exactly.
down
Yeah.
Morrison
Exactly.
Boulevard, it helps, but
Oh, it helps,
How
because
many
it's
times have you sat there
it
and there's
stops.
nothing moving at all?
nothing moving, and there's no cars coming down even, down the boulevard.
I give up.
I hear you. Anyway, make a motion, please.
ZBA 2461, Tremont Quincy LLC for variance and special permit to raise all existing structures in both 61 Hancock Street, 71 Hancock Street, construct a new 8-story multifamily residential structure with 139 units, approved with 134 parking spaces on premises numbered 6171 Hancock Street, Quincy, and make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Motion adjourned.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Appreciate it.
Yep. Mr. Mahoney, have a good one.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Motion adjourned.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second on the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so moved.